Hi, Jill Tisbury at Fired Glass here. Today I have a very simple but really effective Christmas stencil, and you can see from this that we can create some stunning pieces. So we're going to create something similar to this today, so keep watching. Okay, let's get started. So today we have this stencil. It's readily available. Hopefully you can see that. I know it's against white, but there you go. So this stencil is available in most places, most craft places. I know the big online store has definitely got that. And you've probably seen a few people use this in glass. So I thought I'd show you a couple of options using this stencil to create some lovely scenes. So this one is actually not mine. This is a student's piece, and she's extremely happy for me to show you that. But I just think she's done a great job with some burnt umber and some cinnabar powder. The top bit is midnight blue. It's a very subtle sort of sifting of midnight blue, but I think that just gives you a beautifully looking piece with the stag and the trees done in white. So really lovely. This version, I'll move this out of the way because she won't thank me for knocking that over. This version is the sort of standard version that we see a lot of at the moment, and we've used aventurine blue at the top, we've used white powder at the bottom, and we've used I think umber to do the little stag. So not the entire stencil, we've just used the stag out of this stencil. But the thing about this is an inverted curve. So as you can see, I have a very, very large wave mould, really large wave mould. And so the valley bit, I just dropped that in to actually let that slump downwards, and it worked really well. So it's just a bit different, and it really draws you in. So we like that. So what are we doing today? Okay, I'm going to use this mould. So it's quite a deep arch mould. And I've got a piece of glass that's going to go over the top of that. So once that goes over, we're going to have a really lovely deep curve with my stag scene on it. So this is just a steel mould, get them from Paul Gardner. So if you're on the Facebook groups, just tag him and he will, or send him a message, and he's got all sorts of shapes and sizes of these. This has just been coated in boron nitride. I tend to do that because I favour boron nitride rather than kiln wash on these, and I prefer to do that rather than just leave them as normal steel. So if you want to know more about that, there's another video that shows you how to do that, how to prep your metal moulds. So pop that over one side. Let's just move that over there. And we're ready to go. So I've got a couple of kiln props here. I'm just going to pop my piece on here. And just so that you're aware what we're up to, obviously this is versatile because you can have it that way, or you can have it that way. I think that what we're going to do is have a little horizon here of snow. So just to give you an idea, I don't normally do this, but just roughly around there, that's our snow line. And the rest of it is going to be aventurine blue, which has got a lovely deep hue to it and a little bit of a blingy twist. And then we're going to put our stag on there. No moon. I don't really need a moon from this. I've actually got a little circle. Let me grab hold of that, which I'm going to use as my moon. There we go. So we'll use that one as our moon. So this is going to be trees in the background, stag here, and then the other thing that I've got are these. These are my French vanilla stringers. You can get them on our website, but they're pulled really quite finely, and you can see what I've done to them. Hopefully, let me just get a plain one there. I have mixed up some black enamel. So I've just got a little bit of medium. If you haven't got medium, you can use water. When I say medium, I'm talking about this stuff. So this is UGC medium. And the black enamel is just standard black enamel. You can use any black enamel, so Dove or Dove Rogue, depending where you are in the world. UGC, any of those will do. So I've just mixed that up, and you can probably see, if the camera picks that up, it's quite gloopy. So you don't want it runny, you want a decent amount of colour. And I'm just going to twist my brush in the palette so that I haven't got a big glob of paint on the end. I've actually got, you know, a bit of a point. Let's move these out of the way. Pick up a likely looking candidate for a birch tree. That's what these are meant to be. And this is what we're going to do. For a birch tree, they have these little sort of black areas where the bark is peeling. So not easy to do this upside down, but you get the idea. One side, then the other side, and just let that dry. Okay, so you can see I've done that with quite a few of these pieces that I've painted here. There's a nice long one here, look. So again, just once more to show you. One side all the way up. It's very random. You know, you don't have to make sure it's completely covered, and it's really quite quick to do. So do one side, then the other side. You just flick in your brush across your piece. Now I don't need this that long, so I'm going to just chop that off there. There we go. Pop that down there. So once you've got a whole series of these, where's my water? Oh, here it is. I'll just get that because you don't want this to dry on the brush. So let's just wash that off in there, leave that over there, and put my palette to one side, and I'm ready to go. I'm just going to move these over here. And I'm now ready to put my powder on. So this way you've got to be brave, because when you do this, you're not going to use any glue, and of course you want to be able to put your stencil on top of your powdered background, and also put your French vanilla birch trees on there. So need a mask. This is N95. I'm not sure what the European is, it EN149 or FFP2, whichever are the sort of certified masks. That's what you want. I actually have one with a respirator when I'm doing long bits of work, but for this it's easier for you to hear me. So I've got dense white opal, so that's this one, which is 0313. There you go. That's going to be my snow at the bottom. This is aventurine blue. It is transparent, but when you put it on it looks like it's obviously not going to be transparent because it's so dark. This is 1140. So those are the two powders that you are going to use. So I'm going to start with aventurine blue, which is this one here. So we'll move these out the way. Just push them over there for a minute. And I'm using this. This is my tea strainer sieve. So just press that, open it up. When you get some of this, let me just show you here. What you don't want to do is have a massive sieve full of this. So if I open that halfway, you can see that is just about halfway full. If you don't do that, it comes out the edges. Okay, so we're good to go. We're up on kiln props here because, as you can see, when I do this, I've got overspill on this side. And I certainly don't want to waste all of that, so that needs to go back into my pot. Okay, so you notice when I'm doing this, I'm holding it in this hand and I'm tapping with this hand. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to have a lovely even coating on the top of this. And you need to make sure that you get right to the edges. See, that always reminds me of my mother-in-law, bless her, when she used to like her toast buttered right to the edge. So make sure that you go right to the edge. Okay, so there's the line that we talked about. You can draw one if you want, you don't have to. but it's always good to sort of give you a guide, I guess. And that line, you can see I've gone over it slightly. Really doesn't matter whether you've gone over it at all. Just make sure you've got a nice even coverage here. There we go. It's really quite sticky, this blue powder, so give that a good tap. Now when I remove that, it's easier to pick up when it's on kiln props, but also you can see that we can then move it and you can see what's left. So this is like when you were at school and you had all that glitter. Just want to make sure that that's off there. Now you possibly can't see that, but I can see a little skim of powder that's still in there, so I'm going to give it a tap, just the very finest particles, and I'm going to turn that over, mainly because, just put the lid on that, move it over there, but I'm going to turn that over because I'm going to use white next. I guess you could have started with white and then gone with blue, but I want my white to go slightly over my blue, and I don't want the blue in the white powder. Same again then, so we fill in this like we did before. This is the dense white, and we're going to go over the edge, good old tap. There we go. And we've got a nice coating of white on there. Same again, you're going to move this out the way. Just be careful because you've done all your hard work. You've now got your background beautifully smooth. And what you don't want is to spill it. Fabulous. Right, so I'm done with those two colours. That was aventurine blue and it was dense white for the moment. I'm going to get my dense white back in a little while because I'm going to be doing my stag. Okay, so think about the arch that you're doing. So these bits here round the edges are probably going to be right round the corner, so your seam needs to be pretty much in the centre of this. So that's what I'm going to do with this. Now there's a couple of ways that you could do this. You'd be really brave, which is what I'm actually going to do, and you could put this right on the centre and get your thing right on top of the powder. So I want my piece here. There we go. So I'm being pretty brave there, aren't I? I want my stag right in the centre, and I'm going to put some birch trees coming around the edge. So I need my dense white powder. I need to grab hold of that. There we go, thank you. And I'm going to use this. So this is a micro sieve. And the micro sieve works in this way. So what you need to do is can you hear that? And you press with your thumb, it vibrates, this little thing goes across the screw and it vibrates this. So you need to make sure when you do this that you've only got about halfway full, because you need to make sure there's enough space in here for this to bounce around. The reason I'm using this instead of the big sieve is I can be more directed. Now one of the ways you can do this is you could prop your, if you've got one of these screens for screen printing, you could prop that up over the top of your piece and actually put your powder through it and push it through the screen. So I have done that before and it works a treat, works quite well. And that way you don't have to have your stencil sitting directly on your powder. But I've done this several times and it works quite well, and if you can kind of like be brave enough to do it, then that's fine. I quite like these. So we're going to have these trees over here covered in snow. There's some dots on this stencil, and they're meant to be sort of bits of snow, big snowflakes falling down. I'm not worrying too much about those because I want to use frit, medium size frit. I tell you what, this is makes your hand hurt after a while, makes it ache. So it's an acquired skill, definitely, but it's useful. So again, you can get these little sieves, micro sieves, at most glass supply shops. Just make sure that you've got them on there. The key thing is to make sure you've got an even coating on your stag. Ooh la la, this is the moment of truth. I'm going to pick this up gently. You notice I've put one finger at the bottom just to steady it. There we are. Now, if this happens where you've pressed it in, you can obviously just, there we go, push that down a little bit. Make sure all the powders come off there. And I want to put some more snow, some more frit on the bottom. So let's just get rid of this powder. Nearly there. This is quite a quick one, but really effective one. So move the dense white away there. So there's my stag in his little stand of trees, and now I'm going to put the birch even. So what I want to try and do is make sure that the top of these are level with the top, so it looks like it's actually going off in that direction. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but often you get two of them together. So I like doing that. I like putting two of them together. The other thing I've got is some really fine versions of this, and I'm just going to drop them on. So when I use these, I'm going to pick them up so that they are, my tweezers are vertical. I'm just going to support my wrist, and that allows me to drop these on in pretty much the place that I want them without having to move or you know, move the powder. Let's just get these. These are so fine. Difficult to pick up. Sometimes they move over. Let's put some more of these on here. Quite like this sort of wavy effect that we've got going on here. There's quite a few of them that I painted, so I can have them going over the top of one another. I think I probably need some more fine ones for the branches. See, you always want to go one way, it wants to go the other way. It's just the way it works. Quite like the long ones like this, because they just allow you to put a bit more depth on here. I'll have some going over the side. There's another long one over here. So we like those. And there's a little stubby job here. Look like little zebras, don't they, at the moment? Oh, that one's falling over that way, but that's fine. Do I want one more? Do you know? I'm not sure that I do. No. So I'm just going to get some more thin ones, very, very thin ones, out of my box down there. Just add a few more branches. So we look like we're in quite a dense wood. Oh. There we go. Need a steady hand for this. One more, I think. Fabulous. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to put some snow on. So what have I got here? I've got fine frit. So this is, again, dense white opal, but it's fine frit. Again, it's 313 because it's dense white. That was my powder, there we go. And I've actually just got white opal medium frit. And that is 113. So this one is the medium one, the other one is the fine one. So I'm going to go down here with that, just so that it looks like we've got some prints in the snow. Give it a bit of texture. And maybe it looks like it's drifted up a little bit where the trees are. Now, some of these look nice if you decide that you want to use baubles on the antlers. I know it's a bit twee, but I have seen that, and it actually looks quite nice as long as you perhaps just use one colour. I've done a couple where we've just used a little sort of couple bits of twig in there and some red beads for berries. And this is quite snowy here, so I've now got some fine white, and I'm going to put this in for the snow. Now, do I want the moon on there? That's the thing. Or not. To moon or not to moon? I think I might well put him there. So just want that raised, and I'm going to get my dense white opal. The very last thing, I'm going to go on top of this. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because this is going to give me, as the as the powder falls off, you know, the icy sort of glow that you get around the moon when you've got a really frosty, freezing cold night. I quite like that. So rather than using the one that was on the stencil, I just like this, and it's giving me that extra depth because it's just a little bit raised. Okay, now the other option is to do your stag in something like Cinnabar. I have got Cinnabar. I'm not going over the stag, but what I am doing is just going to put a little bit of shadow in here. Just adds that tiny bit of depth. And that is finished. So we're going to fire that on a tack fuse, and then we're going to stump it on the arch. I will turn that round so that Mr. Camera can pick that up, have a little look at that, and we'll fire it, and then you can see what that looks like when it's finished. So that's my stag used, created by using a very simple stencil with just a little circle for the moon and a few French vanilla enamel painted twigs to give you that extra depth. So I hope you enjoyed that. Enjoy the finished article, it's coming up next. And happy Christmas! Oh, better take my mask off, hadn't I? Oh, there we go, that's much better. I hope you enjoyed that. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.